Hello and welcome to the Evidence Based Chiropractor. I am your host, Dr. Jeff Langmaid. On today's episode, we're going to talk all about patient reactivations. This is the number one area of opportunity in pretty much every single chiropractic practice. If you're listening to this, it's an area of opportunity in your practice. I guarantee it. I'm going to walk through exactly what we do and what we've seen with Patient Pilot so that you can know the exact process that we use along the way. I'll highlight some of the big upgrades that we've made, why we've made them, and there'll be a lot of take-home information. So get those pens ready, get those notepads ready. I'm going to break down exactly how we do what we do to generate the results that we do for over 350 docs around the world on today's episode. Before we get started, I'll say a couple words about Patient Pilot by the Smart Chiropractor. Send emails, get reactivations if you'd love to learn more and hop on with our team and see just how many reactivations you're missing out on each and every month. You can at thesmartchiropractor.com, and I will drop that link down in the show notes. But basically, that's what this episode is going to be all about. We know that retaining a client or reactivating a patient is 5 times cheaper than acquiring a new patient. So if you are on a budget, if you're spending money on paid ads and you'd love to spend a little bit less, or you just would love to diversify that spend a little bit, keep that in mind. That's a really important point here, which is it is crazy amount cheaper to reactivate a patient than it is to acquire a new one. And if all you're focused on is the patient acquisition process, aka paid ads and new patients, you're just spending too much. You can do other things to ensure that your schedule is full and diversify that expense. So one is ensuring that you understand that concept. The second concept that I think is really important to understand is also email marketing helps you get more out of your paid ads. So if you're spending money on paid ads, there's a ton of conversion points. There is how many people those ads were shown to, how many people clicked to fill out the form or to call your practice, how many people actually showed to that appointment, about 50% show rate typically, and then how many people said yes to care, which could be 50 to 75%. So basically, when you acquire a lead via paid advertising, a lead does not equal cash in your pocket, even though the ad companies would like to position it that way. A lead is a lead, and it might, depending upon who you are and depending upon your show rate and your conversion rate to yes, it might take 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 leads or more to actually equal a new patient in your practice. So how do you get the most out of those dollars spent? You get the most out of those dollars spent by ensuring that you have a follow-up campaign. There's a saying that 99% of the sale is in the follow-up. It's 100% true. If you're doing no follow-up other than a few phone calls for your leads that you're paying for, you're just missing massive opportunity. It's crazy. So ensuring that you have email systems to follow up long term. In other words, those people should be getting a weekly email newsletter every single week until they either unsubscribe or they say yes. You've already spent the money trying to acquire their information. Just because that week wasn't the week that they decided to actually come in doesn't mean that they won't come in next week or the following week. But at most 99.9% of chiropractic practices stop too soon. So if you'd like to squeeze more juice from your paid ads, email marketing is where it's at. Of course, this is what we do with Patient Pilot. The third component are really the weekly emails. This is a critical component, and I want to break down why we talk about weekly, the data that we have behind it, and what you can expect. So you can do the math. If you choose to write these emails yourself, awesome. If you'd love us to make it way easier for you and get better results faster, even better. But here is the truth about it. We send currently about 2.5 million emails per month just within our business. Now, if I look at how many emails I send across and for all of the businesses, it's probably about 4 million a month. But for chiropractors specifically within Patient Pilot, we send 2.5 million a month. This gives us better data than anybody else on planet Earth to understand what happens when you start sending. So let's talk about that. We serve over 350 practices currently around the world. And what we find is regardless of where you live, regardless of what type of practice you have philosophically and approach-wise, a weekly email newsletter generates the best results, bar none. So daily tends to be too much for a chiropractor, and monthly or every 2 weeks is just not enough. It might feel like weekly is a lot. I can assure you, if the weekly email newsletter is set up appropriately, it is not. And ironically, Weekly generates better open rates and better click-through rates than if you're only sending monthly. So therefore, that's a great indicator. And we do this for, again, 350 practices, 2.5 million emails a month. So we have really good information to say that means people like it more, right? So that means people welcome that weekly email newsletter more than they do a monthly email newsletter by the fact that we see higher open rates and higher click-through rates, which is really what you want. Step number one is to have somebody open the email. That ties to the subject line. So ensuring, here's a take-home tip for you. Your subject lines should always be about stimulating curiosity. That's really the number one goal of a subject line, is to entice somebody to open up the email. So you want to focus on curiosity. Then within the email itself, the body copy, that's where you want to, as we say, teach and invite consistently. That is not the place to discount and annoy. And that is what I have seen too often. But you want to teach and invite consistently. Teach and invite consistently. Teach is educate, inspire, entertain. Who are you talking to? What are the problems that they have? Use it as a teaching moment. The beauty when you use a teaching moment, Gary Vee calls this jab, 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 right hook. When you teach, now you've afforded yourself the opportunity to invite. The invite, here's another take-home message, 2 big buttons we have in every email we send out: call to schedule and click to schedule. Those are the calls to action, or the buttons in those emails. They are big, they are bold, and they are clear on purpose. You don't need to be obstructive with your call to action. You want it to be super clear. Call to schedule and click to schedule are the 2 buttons that we use. I encourage you to use as well. Now, when somebody clicks those buttons, guess what? They're clicking buttons that say call to schedule and click to schedule. That is the highest intent individual on planet Earth. They literally already have a relationship with you. They're on your email list. Now they're clicking a button that says call to schedule or click to schedule. There's no reason to do that if they are already on your schedule. There's no reason to do that unless they have the intent of actually scheduling in your practice. So those 2 calls to action you want to ensure that you have in every single email. We've tested different ones. Those work better than anything. I can just tell you that flat out. Additionally, a couple other things about the body copy. Don't be mistaken that more is better. We find about 350 words, and I talk with docs all the time, and it's like, that's a little light. I'd really like to go in there. You're like, no, you do not want to overdo it. A teaching moment, not a teaching book. You want to be brief. You want to be to the point, and you want to ensure that the person can digest it very, very easily. Don't overdo it. That's ego and clinical brain trying to get into marketing. And that I talk with docs every week that feel like there should be more there. There shouldn't. Believe me, we test it. And some of the best performing emails that I've ever seen are literally 1 line long. Conversation for a different day. But you can win with long copy. You can win with short copy. But when you're using weekly email newsletters, keeping it brief and to the point works better every single time. So that's a key aspect there. The additional component is ensuring that those people actually end up on your schedule. So this was a huge upgrade that we recently launched within Patient Pilot literally last week, and it's daily reactivation reporting. So you might be hearing me say, wow, okay, that sounds good, Jeff, but how do somebody clicking call to schedule and click to schedule, how does that equate to somebody in my practice? If you tell me there's 20 clicks, that's great, but how do I make sure that all 20 people ended up in my practice? Valid question. So we went through a massive, massive upgrade over the last couple months that we've been working on that we literally just released, and it's daily reactivation reporting. So every single day, you get a report, you or your team get a report showcasing the first and last name of every individual on your list who clicked call to schedule or click to schedule over the previous 24 hours. This is the hottest list humanly imaginable. So 1, you want to check out the list and ensure that they ended up on your schedule. Just check your EHR. 2, if they're not there, that's a simple customer service driven, patient-centric outbound call. Bring. Hey, Jeff, this is Dr. Jeff at Langmaid Chiropractic. I noticed you clicked to hop onto our schedule, but I don't see you have scheduled an appointment yet. Can I answer any questions, or I'm happy to schedule that appointment for you right now? That is how you ensure that those people actually end up on your schedule. It's foolproof. It maximizes things. And again, I'll say it sounds so ludicrously obvious, but these are questions that I do get, and they're good questions, which is, okay, you're telling me there's 20 clicks, but I don't know, only 4 people on my schedule. Like they literally clicked a button that said call to schedule or click to schedule. So to make things as super easy as possible, we serve up a daily reactivation report to show you every 24-hour period if anybody clicked, who those people are, first name, last name. Makes it really easy. We deliver it at 7 a.m. your time, so your team is ready to rock on that as soon as they hop into the practice. So a lot of times what I'll say, if you see me at a conference or whatever, I'll say, if you're not a member of Patient Pilot, you don't want a daily reactivation report. Like we literally can draw out the names of people clicking in your emails immediately, starting within a week. And to me, what could be more powerful, right? So if you don't have that going on, that's a massive hole in your practice bucket, and it's probably putting undue stress on your paid ads. It's probably causing undue stress personally for you when you're looking and saying, gosh, I'm always needing more new patients. If you always need more new patients and you do not have a reactivation system installed in your practice, and I don't mean once a quarter emails or once a quarter phone calls, but an actual system like Patient Pilot that's automated, you're just causing yourself way too much grief for absolutely no reason. And here's the why I say that. Because of the data that we have, I can really confidently say, I've looked at the data, I've chopped off the bottom and top 10% of our docs, so like the outliers, right? The bottom 10% and the top 10%. And what does the middle show? The middle shows 22 clicks, which are literally the clicks are call to schedule and click to schedule each month per 1,000 individuals. So for every 1,000 people that you have on your email list, you can expect 22 people clicking call to schedule and click to schedule each and every month. So if you have 5,000, you might be looking at 80 to 100 people. If you have 500 people on your email list, you might be looking at a dozen people that would literally be clicking the buttons if they just had the opportunity to do so, which is the most important part about this, is ensuring that you're staying top of mind. So we recently went through and did a huge upgrade again, adding daily reactivation reports. If you are a member and you're listening to this, and if you have any questions, hit us up, obviously, support@thesmartchiropractor.com. If you are listening to this and you are not yet a member, get on board. You're hitting Q4 right now. We're going to have HSA, FSA campaigns also lined up that we totally revised. I literally redid all the copy, and they're awesome. So HSA, FSA campaigns, really important during Q4 to ensure people know that they have the benefit and that they can use the benefit in your practice. And obviously getting the reactivation reporting. For docs that start this week, we could get sending for you next week. We have availability with onboarding right now, and it's month to month. So if you don't like what's going on, you don't have to stick with it. But I can assure you, with 350 practices around the world, with how visible I am in the profession and how deep I am into this product, you're going to be super, super happy. We also just recently changed over our onboarding process and our members area so that it is way more streamlined, super easy. So again, if you're a member, you have any questions about that, support@thesmartchiropractor.com, or you can head over to thesmartchiropractor.com to schedule your demo, or I'll drop a link down below. But the biggest thing I want you to keep in mind are a couple items I want to just circle back to. One, reactivation systems lighten the load on your new patient acquisition process. 1. 2, reactivation systems, and specifically email marketing, enables long-term follow-up with your paid ad leads so that you maximize the dollars that you're putting in and the return that you're getting on them. Absolute no-brainer if you're already spending money on paid ads. Many docs out there spending $500 in management, $500 to $1,000 in actual ad spend. You're looking at $2,000 a month for a couple $100 to ensure that you're maximizing that value through email marketing. Total no-brainer. Third component, about every 1,000 individuals that you have on your email list, you're missing out on, quite frankly, if you're not doing anything with them, about 24 reactivation actions each and every month. And the most important part about it, where we've really, I think, connected the pipes, as I like to think about it, is clicks are great, but people are the people are what you're really after. So we have now daily reactivation reports going out to all of our members, showcasing exactly who is clicking so that you can ensure that they ended up on your schedule, or make that super simple outbound call. We give you the scripts and coaching on the back end as well to ensure that you know exactly how to make that simple outbound call so that you can maximize reactivations. I can tell you this is a big deal for me, and I don't mean to get totally esoteric right now, but I was talking with my team about it, and I'll say it to you guys as well, which is if you're not doing this, I just, come on. And this is what I said with our team. I'm saying, man, guys, we got to get out there and tell this story from the rooftops, because with over 130 people dying due to opioids every single day, and many of them start with spinally related issues, when chiropractors aren't reactivating their patients get, wander off into Never Never Land. And while you might have had a patient, hundreds of patients, thousands of patients, and you're like, they left my practice happy. If you have hundreds, if not thousands of inactive patients, I can assure you some of them are wandering over and getting really bad advice elsewhere. I saw this all the time at orthopedic groups where I'd sit down with a patient. A patient would say, I saw a chiropractor. I'd say, how'd you do? They said, wonderful. But it came back, and now they're sitting in front of me in like a surgical place. I'm like, this is craziness. But that's what happens when you don't consistently communicate and stay top of mind. Something comes back, and the patient's like, oh, I guess it didn't work. I know you told them 8 times in practice that that was going to be the way it goes. But if you don't have consistent communication systems, I could tell you how those patients are making their decisions. I don't want that to happen. I want to make an impact in that. I want to help drive more people back into chiropractic practices than any other technology. I think we're there already, but if this sounds enticing to you, we'd love to work with you. You can click down in the show notes or head over to smartchiropractor.com, check out what we have going on, schedule a demo, just have a chat with our team, and we'll just work you through the process. We'll ask you some questions, and we'll answer any questions that you have as well to ensure that this is a great fit for your practice. But again, it is month to month, and we have the opportunity right now with some onboarding times available to get sending for you within a week. If you have any questions about email marketing, I geek out on this stuff, and you can probably see I've been putting out a ton more content. I think I filmed something like 200 reels over the last 3 weeks or so. So you're going to see me talking about this more and more. I've been deep in the data for the last few months, and now I am ready to talk about all of the data and everything that we have learned. So get out there, have fun, continue to reactivate. If you have questions, hit me up, Jeff at theevidencebasedchiropractor.com. Otherwise, if you leave a rating or review for this podcast, that would be awesome. That helps more and more docs find out about it. And finally, if you are looking to hire before the end of the year, whether it's a virtual CA, whether it is a CA, or whether it is a associate, head over to Chiro Matchmakers and have a conversation. Chiro Matchmakers can help the process happen faster, cheaper, easier, and better. With a team of a dozen full-time recruiters, it's just more infrastructure than every chiropractor has themselves. So we can help you hire the right person the first time so you don't have mismet expectations. Also, VCAs, virtual chiropractic assistants, 70% cheaper than in-office. So if you want to outsource your insurance calls, social media management, lead follow-up, data transfers, those types of tasks are ready to rock with virtual chiropractic assistants. Head over to chiromatchmakers.com. I'll drop that link down below. Otherwise, have a fantastic week in practice, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Evidence Based Chiropractor. If you want to grow your practice, come back for next week's episode. If you want to grow faster, visit theevidencebasedchiropractor.com and join our MD Marketing membership today.